And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, who is back for Friday and then off for the weekend. Hi, Ben.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually going to do a very similar thing when I go out of town in a couple of weeks where I come back for like a day. But it is good to see you. How are you? How
Doing
was
well.
the trip? Was it good?
Excellent. Did some paddleboarding.
Good weather? Everything?
Very good weather. A little windy, but overall
Is it
A+.
still raspberry days, which is what everybody wants to know?
No, and in fact, they have a great grocery store up there now. I was up at Bear Lake, I don't know if we said that, but there's a great grocery store up there. But the cost of raspberries is outrageous still. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, inflation, Ben.
By the way, inflation has hit Bear Lake at a level that has not reached Salt Lake.
Well, it's also becoming kind of a resort town.
It is,
which it used to be just be a small town, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that going for you, which is nice. But
save
other than that, a good trip.
A+ trip.
All right.
How was your parade?
We're going to get to the parade.
Oh, okay.
A little later on in the show. The parade was eventful, and we had a great time, but there was some controversy.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to get to that.
Okay.
Joining us now in studio, he covers the Utes for KSLSports.com. You heard him with PK. He's so nice to stick around because, frankly, we have you on Fridays first.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that Steve Bartle continues to be a great friend of the show. And, frankly, it's good to see you in person, Steve, always, because you're out and about, man. You're making it happen on this beat. So it's cool. It's cool to be here with you.
Appreciate it, man. It's good to be in today and in studio and joining you guys.
No, go ahead, Ben.
Steve, we were just talking about how nice it is that this year's going to have so many different storylines. I got really sick of 24 months of his camera isn't going to start this week.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy that just kept happening. It was just horrible. But, okay, so along those lines, what are we certain of? What do we know before camp opens up on Tuesday?
Well, the nice thing is we're not going to be dealing with any sort of quarterback injury drama like we were the past two seasons, at least knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood for sure. But I think with what we know about Utah is obviously it starts on the defense side of the ball with, the guys that they bring back, Lander Barton, Smith Snowden. Those guys are going to be key, and that defensive unit, was despite the win-loss record last year, that defense still performed at a really strong level. So you like what Utah has there. And then, the offensive line on the other side of the ball, you've got two offensive tackles that are projected day one type guys in next year's draft, and Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu. You've got three experienced guys, alongside them in Tanoa Togiai, Jaron Kump, and Michael Mokafisi. So you feel really good about the offensive line and what Jim Harding has built there. And then, we with Jason Beck coming in and this offense, there's a lot of intrigue around it, but we know that this is going to center on the run game. And that will include Devin Dampier. That will include Wayshawn Parker. In what form and in fashion will be really exciting to watch as that unfolds over the course of the season, what Beck and what they like to do. But we know that that's going to be the focal point. And I think that's going to be really key for Utah, getting back to an offense that leads and is a product and points to your brand, your culture, your identity as a football program. I think will be a big thing for Utah going into the season.
Steve, Bartle me this. I came in today telling Christian, I was like, if Steve on his podcast doesn't do a segment called Bartle me this, he's really missing out.
I'm gonna write that down.
And Bartle me this. I thought, man, I just had a banger of an idea
the mailbag
for Steve and his podcast. Everyone, Bartle me this. What is the tempo? What is the tempo going to look like? Jason came up under Dr. Bob, right? And what they ran at UVA was pretty up-tempo. What they ran at Syracuse was pretty up-tempo. Certainly what they ran at New Mexico was pretty up-tempo. You said something this morning that caught my ear with PK, that the offense is going to be more complementary to the defense. And I think that would be ideal. The only thing that would come in the way of that I see is the tempo. Mm-hmm. And we've seen coaches try and go up-tempo under Coach Witt before, and it's not received warmly. Mm-hmm. What kind of tempo do you think the offense is, or you see or understand, or do we know?
I think, that's definitely going to be an interesting thing. You go back to Big 12 Media Days. One thing that actually stood out to me was Whittingham mentioned, talking about Devin Dampier. He said something to the effect of, Dampier is a great leader in the huddle, but we're not going to be huddling a whole lot this season.
Interesting.
He snuck that in there.
Yeah.
And so, what we saw during spring ball was, an offensive unit that was still, not necessarily, I don't want to say plodding along, but they were taking their time. And I think what we'll see this year, because it is Beck's system and sort of his history and track record speaks to more of an up-tempo style, maybe we see Dampier taking more control of things on the field, getting to the line of scrimmage, scanning the defense, and still eating into the clock, but playing more of an up-tempo pace where you're kind of dictating things, I think is going to be the key for is going to be the thing that I think is where we kind of settle on.
Like Brian Johnson style.
Yeah, something like that.
Is Wayshawn Parker the guy?
I think Wayshawn Parker is the guy. Yeah, I think so. And I think when you look at what he did last year at Washington State, 735 yards, 4 touchdowns, that offense is geared towards the passing game. And John Mateer, obviously, moving on to Oklahoma, and Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator, that offensive line in front of him was also geared towards the passing game. And so, coming here to Utah, I think the expectation is that he's going to be the workhorse. He's going to be the guy. And I mentioned this on with PK, but when you look at the production between Dampier and Parker last year in the run game, where Dampier was running for 1,100 yards, 19 touchdowns, and Parker was 735 and 4, I think it's very easy to see those two numbers flipping this season for Parker and Dampier, where Parker is now the guy running for 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 type yards. I think that's the goal, that's the hope for him, that he can be that sort of workhorse, that lead back. And they're going to incorporate a number of different guys. Beck's offense, he's used 3 running backs pretty consistently. Last year, it was Jevin Jacobs, Eli Sanders, and Nakari Rogers. They brought Nakari Rogers to Utah from New Mexico, so you've got a piece there that already fills that role. I think finding a third running back will be really key for Beck and that running back room. And
Mekhi Bernard doesn't have any eligibility.
No,
left.
He doesn't, unfortunately, man. He'd be perfect
7 or 8
too.
years later.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be perfect. But I think finding that third guy, and it could be a Hunter Andrews, it could be a Nate Johnson filling that third back role. It could be a true freshman in Daniel Bray, who adds an element to that room that isn't there for the other guys, where he's more of that dynamic athlete, the speed guy. I think that's going to be something of focus for Beck and Coach Atuaya.
Does Wayshawn Parker remind you of any former Utah running backs?
Yeah, I made this comp. He reminds me of a bigger John White.
Okay.
So sort of a no-nonsense runner, but cat quick, changes directions on a dime, no-nonsense runner. He's not going to dance, he's not going to wiggle, he's not going to do those things, but he's really good at seeing the line of scrimmage develop, finding the crease, and just hitting it. And I think that's sort of his style is in that John White mold.
Well, if he can play in the fourth quarter like Juan Blanco Cuatro did, that would be
that's good news
really
for
something.
Utah.
He was so good in the fourth quarter. Spencer Fano is the latest example of Witt playing the long game on a player, and not just Witt, the coaching staff. Play this guy early. Like, we think there's star potential here. I think of other players. I think of Brian Blecken. I talked to Morgan Scally at like spring ball or something like that, and he's like, "Oh, we're getting this dude on the field." Marcus Williams. I remember a game when he was a freshman where Sharif Shah was literally yelling at him about like 2 steps to your left. Like he obviously had no idea what he was doing, but it's like this dude's got. We're gonna play the long game on this guy because it's crazy. So this is more of a conceptual question. Is that going to be possible going forward?
Yeah.
Where you play a guy, you invest in a guy, and the guy actually stays or plays as an upperclassman. You probably leave early, but I think you get my point. Is that going to be possible going forward?
Yeah, it's still a thing, and I think that's with all the changes going on with revenue sharing and NIL and all that sort of stuff. A lot of the focus is on on who leaves, right? But there's still a lot of guys that Utah was able to bring back from last year's roster, right? Spencer Fano, Smith Snowden, Leonard Barton. There's a handful of guys that were getting a lot of interest from other programs somehow in the roundabout ways that we all know go on with it. There was a lot of interest beyond even just within the state. Like there was a number of power programs that were pursuing guys. And so to hang on to the top guy, Spencer Fano, I think that speaks to just what Utah has in place now and other programs have in place. So I still think that's a big key. And, as you were talking about some of those, freshmen that they have the long view and the long-term vision with, the guy that comes to mind in that sense with this year's team is defensive tackle Carson Kafusi. I think he's going to be a guy that, is going to play a significant role for Utah this year, assuming that he continues on the trajectory and the progress that he made in spring ball. If he continues that in fall camp, I think he could work his way into a pretty significant role in that defensive tackle rotation and be a key figure in year 2 and year 3 on that defensive line for Utah.
Who are the 4 guys on the D-line?
There's still a couple battles waging on, but I think Logan Fano is going to be one guy, Dallas Vakalahi, and then who they sit next or who they place next to Vakalahi will be interesting to see. Liki Vilmahi, Jonalea Ea are the 2 guys that'll battle out for that spot. And then the other defensive end position, that's going to be really fascinating. John Henry Daly, Cash Dillon are kind of the guys, Paul Fitzgerald as well. There's a good battle at defensive end. They feel really good about the depth that they have there. They feel they have 5-6 guys that'll rotate and play a significant role. It's just kind of figuring out who's actually going to be the guy to start, the games alongside those other guys that I mentioned. But I think it's going to come down to John Henry Daly and Cash Dillon as the guys, with Paul Fitzgerald kind of serving as the primary backup to Logan Fano. But we'll see.
I want to ask you a media day question, but it has nothing to do with the Utes. One cool thing about media days is you get to interact with people from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And lunch is particularly interesting because you pick up on what the vibe of the league is, whether it's a controversy or whether it's Dion going to wear a cowboy hat or who's going to be good. I'm curious to what were people talking about at media day? What are the vibes in the league?
A lot of the conversation centered around Texas Tech and what they've done, with the money being invested in that program and in the recruiting realm specifically and all of that. That was a pretty significant and consistent topic over the 2 days there. And then obviously with me, I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna talk to people, I'm gonna ask people about Utah specifically, and there's a lot of interest in Devin Dampier and what he's going to be for Utah this season. Ari Wasserman of formerly On 3, now of Rivals, is one national media member that is all aboard the Devin Dampier train and is really excited to see what he can do and what sort of impact he can make for Utah on the offense side of the ball. So that was pretty interesting. And then, there's obviously others that have different opinions and are taking more of a wait-and-see approach with Devin Dampier. But the big topic was Texas Tech and revenue sharing and what needs to be done to, provide the guardrails needed to keep a level playing field, not only in the Big 12 Conference, but nationally. I think that was the big topic throughout the 2 days there.
Better to get them early?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And
Utah opens their Big 12 schedule against Texas Tech, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. And it's a nice thing to have the Red Raiders at Rice-Eccles and not on the road in Lubbock. That team is going to be, man, they bring back a lot from last year's team, and then they've just added really good pieces, right, through the transfer portal. And they've put all of their chips, on the table and going all in on this season. The expectation for them and talking to their media members specifically, there's a lot of confidence and belief that they're going to run the table. And you look at what they've done to build the depth and strengthen some of their weak points, and on paper, it makes a lot of sense with what they've brought in. But there's always been that, the reality of it all coming together and these guys actually gelling and performing, that's going to be the big question mark. And so I think it does help Utah that you get them out the gate where you have a little bit more familiarity with Devin Dampier and Beck and the familiarity and experience in that offense, and working those pieces together with the offensive line and run game and being at home, I think is really helpful for Utah.
So here's my theory on Texas Tech, and maybe I'll be wrong. Okay,
I love it. I want to hear it.
If you paid attention to how Mike Leach left that university at all, the Bozo factor at Texas Tech is extremely high.
Yeah.
And you look at that university and you say, okay, well, Texas, recruiting, resources, all these things, why is it just a wash in mediocrity? And the answer is the Bozo factor. I'm sure if you sat Matt Wells down and said, hey, what's it like over there at Texas Tech?
Yeah.
He'd probably say, God, those bozos don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you influx a bunch of cash, but you still have to make the right decisions. You still have to bring in the right players. You still have to coach them correctly. It wasn't that long ago that Jimbo Fisher sank, what was the number on that he sank into that one team, his last team at Texas A&M?
It was a significant amount of money.
And they ended up stinking out loud, and he ended up taking a $90 million buyout. So I love it that you brought that up because I love it. But my hot take is mediocre, maybe a little better, because what have you proven that you've done since Mike Leach? I mean, just make Bozo decision after Bozo decision.
And an element in that conversation and the with Texas Tech is that there's still a lack of belief in Texas Tech itself, where it's like they haven't won anything in the Big 12. In talking to and listening to Joey McGuire and the personnel guys that they have in place there, I'm blanking on the GM's, the general manager's name there, but I've talked to people that are really high on what he does and how he operates. That there's a lot of belief in how he goes about just his role and what he does in building the team, but there is still that lack of belief that they'll actually get it done, that they'll actually get to the championship game, that they'll actually win it. That is still a thing. And, to put a label on it, the Bozo factor is probably an appropriate name. I don't know. But yeah, I think that is something that others see as well in that program.
Well, if I were to give him some advice, don't lock Craig James's kid in a closet.
Yeah, don't do that.
In fact, don't recruit Craig James's kid. He's got migraine issues.
Yeah.
Get more out of Patrick Mahomes.
Get more out of Patrick Mahomes.
How much more can you get out of Patrick Mahomes?
But in college, they got nothing out of him.
He's got you a whole new shoe deal and all that. He's gotten a lot out of him.
Clifford Kingsbury did nothing with Patrick Mahomes. Nobody pays attention to it.
Yeah.
But there's got to be Bozo factor in that.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, first round pick. Fine. They were 500.
Yeah.
There's
a reason he wasn't the number one overall pick.
In a sport that's all about quarterbacks, apparently, and it's become all about quarterbacks, you had a first rounder and you went 500?
Yeah.
What?
Pretty wild.
What?
Yep.
It's crazy. Utah's a first rounder and they go to the Fiesta Bowl and win it all.
Right. Undefeated
season. That's all I'm saying. So we'll see. I'm not a believer in Texas Tech.
I'm excited to see it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Excited to see it.
Yeah. I'm actually, and this is really hard to say, I'm more of a believer in Dilly Dilly in Arizona State, which I've never believed in Arizona State.
Yeah. Dillingham, man,
and I like him.
He's a good coach.
Yeah.
He is a good coach.
And they've got a quarterback who can sling it.
The way he talks about the game, the way he talks about his players and sort of the big picture stuff, he has a really good vision of where college football's headed. He understands sort of where he's at. I think he's a really good coach. Dilly.
I thought it was a good sign that he came out with, yeah, it's hot here. Shut up. Can you play or not? I was like, yeah, right. I mean, it's kind of like the snow here. It snows once in a while. What do you want?
Yeah.
Are you coming up to play football or not? I was like, yeah, they've been hiding from the heat down there forever.
Oh, yeah.
Bartle, you're welcome for the idea for the segment. Bartle me this.
Bartle me this.
He is an expert on all things Ute, and he's nice enough to join us. Thanks, Steve. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
Camp opens.
Hopefully.
Pretty
Haven't
excited.
seen anything official yet, but hopefully.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck. Steve's life is over come start a camp. So,
it is.
Enjoy your last few days, pal. All right, stay tuned. More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
To break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, who's back from Bear Lake, and he brought the chilliness with him.
I did. That was quite nice up there. Even the water, you can stay in it for a second.
I think if I jumped in Bear Lake right now, it would be warmer.
It'd be like getting in the hot tub.
It'd be, yeah.
Finally.
Oh, that's nice. Who would have known? It'd be like the crater up there in Midway.
66 in the studio today. Still cold.
I'm in a long sleeve.
Yeah, but you got shorts on. Which is a huge mistake.
My nose is running.
Yeah.
My fingers are cold.
You need gloves.
I used the facilities during the break and washed my hands, and I should have spent like a half an hour drying them.
We're
You
going
know
to look
what I mean?
like Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau on the cover of Grumpy Old Men at some point, if it doesn't get warmer in here.
What, Christian? What?
I was just going
What?
to say.
You want to get down to business?
Yeah, I was going to say not only does Lloyd make us work the day after our holiday, the Friday after our Thursday holiday, but he also makes us work in terrible conditions.
Yeah, in the cold.
Terrible conditions. I couldn't agree more. All right, it's time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
It's cutting time. See you later, Jaden Springer.
Jaden Springer waived by the Utah Jazz.
That was a great headline. Great. I love the emphasis. I liked the dramatic pause. That was fantastic. Fantastic. All right.
So the Jazz waived Jaden Springer. He had a guarantee date yesterday. So they waived him before that to make sure they didn't owe him his $400,000, which is a very low cost. But again, you can only carry 15 players on your roster into the regular season. And that's exactly where the Jazz sit now if you include the non-guaranteed contract that is worth $8 million for KJ Martin, who the Jazz acquired at the trade deadline last year.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. Managing the bottom of the roster is the thing.
Yeah.
Hope Springer goes and finds another opportunity somewhere.
Jazz currently have this is according to Spotrac, our friends, $148 million in dedicated salary. That is 29th out of 30th in the NBA. I just don't get the impression they're going to keep KJ Martin, but I could be wrong.
Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, that's what camp's for, right? There's always decisions that you don't see, and they got to figure out roster spots and things like that. It becomes a little bit more complicated, too, with the G League, where how do you manage the G League involvement? Do you maintain relationships? I mean, it's really a delicate thing. And frankly, it is because players like Royce O'Neal, for example, who can really improve and blossom and fit in what you want to do, can become extraordinarily valuable in a variety of different ways. And the Jazz aren't in this position, but as you have to pay your big-time players, you have to find some of those guys.
Yeah.
You have to be able to manage the G League and the back part of the roster, especially now that the roster is bigger than it used to be, and use those slots to find out guys who are going to climb and be impact dudes. And I don't know what your success rate has to be,
But it can't be zero.
but it can't be zero.
Yeah.
You have to find those guys because, frankly, they're affordable, and if they can be productive, then that allows you to do some other stuff.
And there's a difference between those guys and the Kyle Filipowskis of the world who are going to at some point get paid real money. You know, even if he's only a sixth man or whatever, those guys are now making $20 million a year in the NBA. You're talking about the guys who can come in and play 10 minutes here and there, but never make more than $2 or $3 million a year, the veteran minimum. And yeah, you got to figure out how to get those guys. Royce ended up outpricing himself, right? He ended up making more money than he was worth for the Jazz. That's the hard part.
Joe Ingles did too.
Joe Ingles absolutely did.
Another one they plucked out of obscurity. Although Joe got 3 contracts with the Jazz.
He did, yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, he did a very good job.
No, that's nothing but a success story right there. But ultimately, we've talked about this before, but the injury was very convenient with Joe because they were going to have to trade him.
So 15 players on the roster. You can kind of think of it in threes at all 5 positions. Point guards, Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Walter Clayton Jr. Shooting guards, Bryce Sensabaugh, Svi Mikhailuk, Ace Bailey. Small forwards, I don't know what position Ace Bailey plays, to be honest with you. Small forwards, Lowry Markkanen, Cody Williams, Kyle Anderson. Power forwards, Kyle Filipowski, Taylor Hendricks, KJ Martin. Centers, Walker Kessler, Yusuf Nurkic, Kevin Love. So it is a basketball team.
Yeah.
It is a roster for players who get paid to play basketball. There's some intriguing young pieces there. That's not a disaster of a roster.
Well, at least it's selling development and hope and those sorts of things.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of.
We'll see what happens. You were talking for a while about Flip being the Summer League MVP, and that came to fruition.
Yeah. On a team that went 0-3. But regardless, he was good.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, sure.
Summer League MVP.
He was good when he was on the floor.
Feather in that cap. No, he's interesting. We talked about it a lot on Wednesday. I thought the Jazz did some really good things in Summer League, showed some really good things. Flip included.
Cody really needed that.
That was my highlight, too.
If Cody had had a bad Summer League, it would have been relatively devastating. Because I already think Ace Bailey probably jumps him in the rotation to start the year, would be my guess. And if he had not given the Jazz any reason to believe otherwise, I think that would have been hard. But, you've got a whole new front office now. And I know Danny Ainge is still there. I know Justin Zanuck's still there. But Austin Ainge should not have any feelings towards these players. He shouldn't come in saying, well, I drafted that guy. Other than Ace Bailey and Walt Clayton, he hasn't drafted any of these guys. So he doesn't need to feel any affinity towards them. And if Cody Williams had the year he had last year, which, Austin Ainge watched from afar, and then came into his Summer League and played terribly, Austin Ainge probably would have zero affinity for him. And now there's some reason to say, hey, there's a young player there.
What's next?
Number 2, President Donald Trump signed an executive order. He's stepping into the world of college athletics.
Ben, I'm not sure that executive order is the answer. And honestly, this isn't executive order from what I can tell. And people who are more into this sort of thing can clarify. But from what I can tell, this is just saying all right, we got to figure something out. I mean, it's not really solving any problems, but it is getting voices involved, like the Secretary of Labor and the National Labor Relations Board, to try and clarify the status of what exactly a college athlete is, whether or not it's an employee or what the relationship and the nature is, so they can figure out antitrust stuff and they can figure all those situations out. And again, I don't think executive order is the answer, and this isn't really trying to be the answer, honestly, but I don't think status quo is going to be very good for the sport. We can talk about some of the opinions that we have on what needs to change in the answers, I suppose, but President Trump made a statement that non-revenue sports and women's sports are in danger, and I have been saying that for years. And if we got to step in and get something going to figure out how we're going to preserve at least some of the concept of college athletics, providing opportunities for those who excel in sports, they got to do something.
I think you and I have both been not outspoken, but discussed our support for Title IX. You and I both believe in Title IX and think it's one of the better things that our country has probably ever done, certainly in the world of athletics.
Has had a really great societal impact, yes.
This is from CBS Sports. Trump's order also contains several points emphasizing the expansion of scholarship opportunities and protection of non-revenue sports, including Olympic sports. I know that's what you were just saying. Specifically, it, quote, provides that any revenue sharing permitted between the universities and collegiate athletes should be implemented in a manner that protects women's and non-revenue sports.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how you do it,
true.
But I am glad to see that at least that was on the top line.
Absolutely.
That if we're going to address this and we're going to try and quote unquote fix college sports, let's make sure to maintain some of the things that weren't broken, like giving scholarships to women and making sure that Olympic sports have value, because not all kids are just good at college football or college basketball. And there are different sports to be played, which we actually do love, and we celebrate them every 2 to 4 years in the Olympics, and we celebrate them as a country, and then we kind of put them on the back burner.
But the point is we should celebrate them as community members and people, because sports and physical achievement has always been a virtue going back to, Grecian days, right? Yeah. Probably further than that. Yeah. But sports' value in society is a thing. And that was always supposed to be part of the concept of college sports, is that we give scholarships for artists and scientists and people who excel in all these areas that we value as a society, and sports were included in that and should be.
Agreed.
It's supposed to be about more than that. That's what always bugs me about the come back to the money people, and it's just exhausting. Can we talk about what it was supposed to be?
Yeah. Finding excellence.
And can we find a way to value some of that?
Yeah.
Retain some of that?
Right. And rounding them into full members of society with better educations, et cetera.
So I don't think this stroke of the pen puts the ball over the finish line.
No, of course not.
But if it gets the ball rolling on some sort of solution, or at least some sort of pecking order of who's going to come up with the solution, because having the individual states do it isn't a thing. The NCAA can't do it. There's no way. So the federal government really is what's left.
Well, people listen to the president, regardless of who the president is.
100%.
Regardless of what the administration is or which party they belong to, colleges listen to the president.
Well, the Secretary of Labor, got off his duff today.
Right.
Got off his stuff, and it was like, okay, well, we got to sink our teeth into this.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Number 3, bit of a downer coming out yesterday. Hulk Hogan passed away, age 71.
Depends on who you ask. But, yeah.
Whoa, that was not an appropriate joke.
It's not a joke. Have you read a single memorial for Hulk Hogan? It was like, you know what? Gonna miss that guy.
I don't know.
You haven't.
I don't, but I don't want to pay attention to that sort of thing.
Guy.
The only reason I threw this in is because Christian and I did What You Got Wednesday in your absence. Christian filled in, and I think he's beating me still.
It's over. I beat you.
Wow.
Yeah. But Christian drafted a wrestler or a wrestling movie.
Would you?
The Iron Claw.
Okay. I think the wrestler's better, but okay.
For sports movies, and it was like, well, is WWE a sport?
A sport, yeah.
Did America lose a sports figure today? We lost a cultural figure today.
Yeah.
And by the way, in answer to your question, Hans Olsen. Just warming. Talking about the loss of the Hulk.
Yeah.
But is it a sports loss?
No, it's an entertainment loss.
Because if you talk to me about what qualifies as a sport and what doesn't, I don't know. This has always been a layup sports radio topic. Because I say WWE, no. I say chess, no. I say racing, yes.
Sure. It has to cross both physical and true competitive.
Golf, certainly yes.
Yeah, of course.
Darts?
Sure, yeah. There's a physical component and there's a competitive component. And that was the issue with WWE is there's no competitive component, right? It's pre-decided.
It's a TV show.
Yeah, so great. But it's still a physical TV show, but, physical TV shows aren't sports.
But honestly, I think these are the dangerous tightropes that our major sports are walking with their relationship with the gambling
100%.
industry.
But
because it's I don't believe. Hey, for those Hulk fans out there like Hans, who are really, it's I never like to see the loss of a life, but it does bring up in my mind, did we lose a sports figure? And I think we lost an actor.
Lost an actor, and And I'm by the way, I'm not trying to run down Hulk Hogan's passing. Christian just said started with a down note, like he was personally wounded by it.
You just threw out a death shot when we're bringing up somebody's passing.
But one of the funny things reading about Hulk Hogan, because I was aware of him as a cultural figure, and I grew up, and wrestling used to be on Saturday mornings when I was a little kid, and I liked Jake the Snake, and my brother liked Hulk Hogan, so there was a relationship there. But I never watched professional wrestling beyond that as a 7 or 8 year old. But everything I've read even was that Hulk was not a good wrestler, but he's an incredible showman. But amongst very talented athletes that do exist in world wrestling or whatever, professional wrestling, Hogan is actually not one of them. He's not a particularly gifted wrestler.
As far as, how do you even...
Well, there are legitimate athletes. There are legitimate guys who are jumping off of the turnbuckles. Is that what they call it? There are guys who are out there actually that have wrestling backgrounds collegiately or college football backgrounds collegiately that went on to be, professional wrestlers. And Hogan was not that. He was pretty clumsy in the ring. He was not a great athlete. He was not that type of wrestler. He was not a showman in the sense of look at the athletic maneuvers he can accomplish. It was just he looked crazy.
I guess I don't care about the wrestling acumen of professional wrestlers. It doesn't.
But that is a staple. But that is a thing.
But you're
for people.
throwing that in like it's some sort of qualifier for the television show, which I don't care if George Clooney is good at darts. It doesn't matter.
No, but it does qualify if we're talking about is wrestling sports. And the ironic thing about it is the most famous wrestler of all time, Hulk Hogan, now dead, was actually not a particularly incredible athlete.
He's not an athlete.
Sure.
Nor is he a wrestler.
So then that's the conversation.
Yeah, that's it. He's not an athlete or a wrestler. Any athletic move they're doing out there is by consent.
Scripted, yeah. Exactly.
Hulk Hogan didn't actually pick up Andre the Giant without Andre the Giant saying,
Jumping into it.
go ahead and lift me up.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Of course.
Who cares how good a wrestler Kurt Angle is? The only thing he's doing well or properly out on that stage is by the consent of the other person. It's not the athletic ability, all that stuff makes no difference.
Yeah. Apparently it does to some people.
Well, it's people that want to believe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's
people
what I've
people
read
that want to believe.
Several memorials, not memorials, but several, I guess, obits or tributes or whatever. Not even tributes, but...
Do you remember when he beat Carl the Axeman in 1986? Like, that wasn't a victory. It was a TV show.
Sure. Yeah, you need to argue with me.
Zach Morris didn't actually steal AC Slater's girlfriend.
Sure.
Anywho, we are offending Christian, who obviously is a wrestling guy. He's like,
No,
are you serious
I've
right now?
I've never been a fan, though.
Any
You
wrestling
serious right now, guys?
background.
Iron Claw, great movie. That's about as
Have
far
you seen The
as
Wrestler?
No.
Watch The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. It's 1,000 times better and more emotional.
You're burying the lead. What's her name from
Did you
cousin?
see the Iron Claw?
I did.
And you think the wrestler's more emotional than
Yes,
the Iron?
it actually is. The Iron Claw is a horrendous story and all this.
You should see The Wrestler's a legit good movie. It's a huge
rules.
downer.
Yeah, it is a huge downer.
What's her name?
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei was good in it.
Maybe the best I've ever seen Mickey Rourke.
No, only good.
washed
No,
up,
Sin City was pretty good.
Yeah, he's good at that.
But yeah, well, anyway, Hulk Hogan, huge name.
Yeah,
Transcended culture.
One of the among a week of strange '80s icons, Hulk Hogan was as big as any.
And for somebody who built something that people like Christian enjoy several times a week to this day.
There's probably a true argument that at one point in our life, Hulk Hogan was one of the 10 most famous people on the planet.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. More next. Christian and I we've got to talk about the parade.
Okay, I'm excited
Because
to hear it. I only
Christian
saw
and
pictures.
We marched in a parade yesterday, and it was eventful.
Okay, excited to hear.
We'll get into it coming up next. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
1, 2, 3, move it.
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You can win big every Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Tickets Wednesday. This Wednesday, you can win tickets to go see Eric Church and the Fire the Machine Tour. It's going to be October 23rd at the Delta Center. Going to be back in action, Ben. Find your tickets at SeatGeek and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day on Wednesday for your chance to win. Ben, you missed it. You were on vacation. You were probably on your way back from Bear Lake. Christian and I had a chance to walk in the Pioneer Day Parade.
Yeah.
Overall, Christian, I would say that I had a very positive experience.
I would agree.
Can you talk me through the parade route?
Okay, it started at staging was kind of by Abravanel Hall.
Uh-huh.
It started at State Street and what would that be? South Temple.
Uh-huh.
And then it went down to 9th South.
Oh, that's quite a walk.
And it's not done. And we turned east and went up to. God, is 9th South? Does that go by Liberty Park?
That's
or did
8th
we
South,
have to go
yeah.
We had to go further south. Anyway, we ended at Liberty Park.
Wow, that is a haul.
My back was screaming at me a little bit at the end, but overall it wasn't too bad. There was a lot of cloud cover, which made a big difference.
Yeah.
And it actually moved along quicker than I thought it would.
Were you guys at staging for a long time?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet.
There were times, though, where we were like having to kind of catch up to the float because we started
Because it was
behind.
moving.
Oh, that's good.
It was going at a good clip. So shout out to all the people that made it happen, like the police officers.
Were there donuts? Did you guys have some food?
I did not.
No one fed you. Interesting.
It's all right. We're not here to complain, Ben.
They definitely should have fed you.
First of all, shout out to Lloyd, and I put this out on the Snap Talk. Shout out to Lloyd who hands me a dang muumuu to wear in the parade.
Okay.
I looked like Scrooge McDuck when he got woken up by the ghost of Christmas past. Should have had a candle holder in my hand and a stocking cap. The dang dress.
Okay, why?
I don't know. He gave me an extra large. I don't know.
Oh, a T-shirt that was enormous. Okay, that makes sense.
I look like
he
an idiot.
shows up Wednesday. He gives me my shirt and he says, "I hope Jake wears an XL because that's what I got him."
Have you seen Jake? He's a normal person, but XL, you are not.
This thing was like down to my knees. Wait, where's the picture? Where's the picture? Hold on. How do you operate this stupid thing? Anyway, I'll show you the picture.
You put it on Twitter?
In a second. I did. I put it out on Twitter.
Yeah, I got it. You're right. It looks like it's down to your ankles.
Wearing a dang dress out
You
there.
do have a dress on.
You know, everybody else in the group is looking hip and cool.
I do like that you stayed true to the tie-dye bucket hat, which is your calling card.
Yeah, I love that hat.
Okay. Was it you, Christian, and Alex?
Yeah.
The three representatives.
Right, which was fun to hang out with
great.
Christian and Alex. They both did a terrific job. Very personable people, you know. So I'm the idiot out there in the dress walking around waving, and I did my best. But, Ben, man, you should have seen Dan Rascone get after it.
Yeah?
That dude is a dang animal. Listen, okay, the parade route, you got the route. It's a ways. 2.5 miles is what they told us, right?
Yep.
Dan was running, high-fiving,
believe it.
hugging, shouting out to everyone the whole dang time.
Taking selfies with people.
Oh, my gosh. I've never seen that man was born to be in a parade.
Okay.
And it was great because he really took a lot of the pressure off the rest of us. Because he was making it happen. And people, and I'm not even kidding, Ben, and I pointed this out to Christian too, people were like, "Oh, Dan Rascone! Oh, Dan, I see you every night, Dan!" The power of television and
There
the
is something about it,
charisma
yeah.
of Dan Rascone is absolutely something to behold.
Do you think are the two intertwined, and is it a chicken and the egg situation?
Oh, no, I think you have to be charismatic to be effective on television. But I do think...
no, I don't care about charisma. I'm talking about, do you have to be good in parades to be on TV, or do you become good at parades once you're on TV?
Oh, I bet Dan was naturally gifted in that.
I
all
don't think it's
seriousness.
a surprise that Dan's lasted this long on TV.
I think
Okay.
I think you're talking about a skill that applies to both that he
Right,
probably
yeah.
naturally had.
Yeah, the Venn diagram is almost a perfect circle from good parade people to good TV people.
Shout out to Matt Gephardt, who was also very good. He was on the edge and would go with the high five, and he also had a good solid wave.
Have you seen his? I've never
which
met
was
his
good.
dad, but we are often on the elevator with Matt. He's like 6'9".
He's not 6'9".
He's enormous. That XL
he's-
shirt you were wearing was for Matt because he's a tall dude.
He is a tall guy. I don't think he's
no,
quite
he's not
6'9".
quite 6'9", but when you're in an elevator with someone who's 5 inches taller than you are, it feels like they're.
And he was on the fly, flipping around to do reports. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, right.
Like, we're still walking back there. Yeah, we're still walking. Here's our beautiful float. It's Kevin Eubank, everybody. Back to you.
I thought he was like busting scammers. I thought
No. He was doing
Okay.
coverage for the
parade.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was pretty rad. The controversy came really.
Not from the shirt.
No, that was kind of I'm kind of mad at
From your dress.
I'm kind of mad at Lloyd, but I don't know if that's controversial. I mean, it really fits with me that
Just
in my
another Friday.
No,
around
in
here.
my biggest moments, I just look like such an idiot. I mean, it's bound to happen, you know. I honestly, I'm so lucky there's not a giant coffee stain that goes right down that white
Sure,
T-shirt.
yeah.
Because that could have definitely happened.
Absolutely.
Here's the controversy, Ben. And here's where I would say Kevin Eubank really shined. I don't know, Christian, you disagree or feel free to disagree. So we're coming up on Liberty Park. We're what would you say, Christian, 100 feet away from the finish line for the marathon.
Both literally and metaphorically.
100 feet from where we're going.
Yeah.
Some volunteers that looked like they were in authority, because we're float 25. We're toward the front, I suppose. And they go, hey, if you're walking, go this way. And they ducked us into Liberty Park.
Away from the float.
Away
Meanwhile,
from the float.
Continued on down the road.
The float kept going and then took a right on 7th East.
Yeah.
And they had told us that we would be shuttled back to the station.
Right.
So we were like, okay, where do we go?
So we were this gaggle of 7 or 8 people who had no idea where they were going.
And like all of 7th East is blocked off, right? They make sure it's...
No, 7th East is not blocked off, which is probably the reason they were diverting us. The problem was really the zero direction
from there.
From there. They just diverted us off, and we're watching there goes the dang float! The float's disappearing! So we didn't know what to do.
Okay.
And so we got some direction from Kevin Eubank, who really got everybody together and said,
leader,
we're going to do this. And he did a terrific job. Now, we did end up kind of in the middle of the marathon, but I'm not going to hold that against him.
We walked through the area that had like free snacks and stuff.
No, we walked through the finish part where they finish it and they go directly there so they could get like rehydrated and stuff. People are like collapsing.
Well,
and
Alex was cramping up.
we're marching through like, has anybody seen the shuttle? Anybody? Anyone? We beelined it for the corner opposite because that's where our fearless leader Kevin Eubank said that the shuttles have been in previous years. So it was like, oh, good.
Did you find it?
We did.
I would have gone to the aviary. Would have gotten a Dole Whip at the aviary and spent my time at the park. But you got it right back.
But we had to get back.
That's okay. You did get it right back. Your wife didn't have to come pick you up?
No, we made it.
Well, that's great. That's convenient. And then you can park here. You can walk up to where
you
guys
that's
were
the
staged.
idea.
Yeah, okay.
They fit us all into one van.
Oh, did they? That's not legal.
You know what? I may have slandered Kevin there. I think we picked up Kevin after we met the float back with the float on 7th East, and then he fearlessly directed us to the shuttles. So I think I may have slandered him. Someone else, I think, got us.
I can't believe he recognized who you guys were.
Got us into the middle of the marathon. I don't want to throw Kevin under the bus. Oh, Kevin told me he listens. I said, we're going to have you on, dude.
You walk around this building that we're in, and yeah, you're talking about Rascone and Eubank and Ruth Todd. You'll get on the elevator with. I'm just like,
I got to hang out with the great Maria Chaleos.
Gephardt. I don't belong here. I know there's a gap between the talent here.
Oh, don't worry, they know too.
Yeah, they do know.
They do know.
Surprised they were nice enough to let you get on the van.
Like, shout out to Alex, who did a really great job. Alex Curie, who was announcing
Not
for our
Alex,
station. Different radio stations from all over the valley, like different clusters. It's actually really cool. They all take a stretch of the parade and do the announcing. And so on our stretch, Alex was the one doing it this year. I've done it in the past. You sit and describe the floats and all that. And Alex was super jacked and got the name of the zone out there and did a great job. But at every other booth, it was like, and here is KSL and this and that. And it was like 3 minutes of material. And at the end and the zone.
Yeah.
But you know what? Don't worry. Christian and I really took that ball. I mean, as soon as they said the zone, we started hooping it up to make sure.
You should have brought a basketball to dribble so everyone knew you guys were sports guys.
The float itself was very sportsy, which was good.
Good.
A lot of Jazz jerseys out, so that was
a lot
fun
of
to see.
Jazz jerseys.
A lot
Yeah.
of Karl Malone jerseys.
Christian Buda guy in a Lakers jersey.
Yeah.
Karl Malone Lakers jersey?
Might have been Magic.
Okay.
But 32 nonetheless.
I think so.
That was a mailman jersey, pal. That was a backfire. All right. Anyway, we thought
Well, I'm glad
everybody
you
would
guys
like to hear about Christian and Alex and myself and walking around in a dress in front of thousands of people.
It
was terrific.
It does bring visibility. Thanks for representing the show.
All right, stay tuned. We'll get to more coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. There's the culprit right there through the glass.
Mr. Moo himself.
There's Lloyd right there. I mean, he's a Portuguese tailor in his his second
Spare
career.
time.
Yeah. Excellent eye for size. Excellent eye for size.
It's always a weird feeling. I hate wearing other people's clothes. You ever certainly as you get older, you don't have to do it, thankfully. But
no, I used to
wear,
steal my brother's clothes and
you ever
not
have
worry
to
about.
wear somebody's swimsuit? You go to a party and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll get a suit you can wear." It's like, why is this so wide? Why is this such a different shape than any other swimsuit I've ever put on in my life? I hate wearing other people's clothes. Though I thrift a ton. Something about once it gets to the thrift store and then I buy it, it's different.
I get what you're saying, and I honestly don't care about, if I'm throwing on somebody else's jacket, who cares? Swimsuit, though, I would think be at the top of the who cares list because of the chemicals involved.
Sure. No, it's
like
not.
You know what I mean? Like whatever is going on in there is going to be killed there in the swimming pool.
It's not the intimacy of it. That doesn't bug me. It's the shape of other people's clothes always feel different than the clothes I buy. I don't know why. I mean, I get it. Their bodies are shaped differently, but like
everybody's just buying their clothes at Kmart, Ben. They're not
that's
actually
that's why it's
tailored
so
to you.
Uncanny. That's why it's so weird because it's like, yeah, where are you getting your clothes? Shouldn't all clothes fit the same? Because yes, we're all buying them at the same place. Why, when I put your clothes on, are they 6 inches wider in the waist or whatever? Or they balloon so much at the knee?
Because they have a different size. They like a different size waist.
No, they're like,
dude.
This is a medium. I'm like, cool, I wear a medium. And you're like, why is the bottom the ankle or the knee length 1,000% different than any other pair of clothes I've ever put on? That's what I don't understand.
Why is Major League Baseball stealing my thoughts? You're a crazy person. Is what's going on? Is that you have lost a grip on reality?
Yeah, maybe. Just don't like it.
What you're saying doesn't exist. Right, Christian? Am I crazy or is he crazy?
I think from my perspective, it's more so just every single brand fits differently.
Maybe I just don't buy certain brands. No.
Ben only shops at Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, right.
No, he doesn't. He shops at Savers. And so that's why this is such a wildly stupid take. Wildly stupid. Are those secondhand clothes that you're wearing right now?
That's the thing. The pants are. I don't think the shirt is. Yeah, pants.
Yeah, I'm not going to feed into your mania, dude.
Something's weird about it. I put on somebody else's clothes and I feel like a different man, and I don't like it.
That is so weird.
Yeah. Except when I
think I'll lead in. I'll buy into that. There's a reason that I don't really thrift.
No, see, I like the thrifting aspect, and something about when they cross into the door of the thrift store, DI, Savers, Goodwill, what have you, it washes clean the last person who wore the clothes. They no longer exist.
It doesn't, though.
But when I go to a house and it's like, oh, I spilled something on my pants, and they're like, yeah, here, I've got a pair of pants. What size are you? 32? Sure, 32, 33, I could squeeze into it. And they put it on me. I'm like, this is what measurement system are you using? This is not American. It's not imperial. What are we doing? Why are your 32s so different than mine? That's my question.
I just want to know, what'd you spill on the pants?
Whatever. Yeah, ambrosia salad. I don't care. Whatever you eat in the summer.
Hey there, I got bong water on these pants.
Well, that evaporates pretty quick. Does that stain?
Does
that carry a certain color, or
no,
is it just water colored?
I have no idea. I was just trying to think of the best way to throw you under the bus. That's all that was, really. My mind went to, well, what did you spill on your pants that you need to change them at a neighbor's house? I mean, I spilled on myself just yesterday at a nice dinner, and I didn't just take off my shirt and sit there. I just sat there and looked like an idiot with yeah, right. So I'm just wondering, what on earth could you possibly spill on your pants
that you had to get off?
That you had to switch pants at a stranger's house?
I think if you spill bong water on your pants, you have to leave.
I poured gasoline all over my pants. Yeah, what? I mean, I just wanted to know what. I mean, you change your own oil, maybe.
But I do it at my house. I don't do it at the neighborhood party.
But maybe well, that's true. Was that a party? Then I'm definitely leaving. You're changing pants at a party?
Well, that's the thing. You end up somewhere where you have to have a change of pants because it's so ridiculous that you have a mess. This is when I was a younger person and I didn't, dictate my own life. Or it's like you're in another state at a wedding or something. And yeah, you drop wedding cake in your lap and you're like, okay, well, this is ridiculous and I can't go up and dance like this, so I need to change my pants. And you survey the crowd and you say, that guy looks like he's my shape, my height. I bet he has an extra pair of pants that he packed. And he goes, hey, buddy, I dropped wedding cake on my pants. Can I change?
Who's bringing?
And he says, yeah, I've got a pair of pants. What size are you? I say 32, 30. He goes, great. That's exactly what I'm. And you put them on and you're like, why Oh, it's a destination wedding. And you're like, why do I need suspenders to keep these pants up? I thought you were a 32-30. What's the deal here?
I was in a wedding once, and bless the groom solely bought everybody pants, and mine were too tight, and I wish I had somebody to change pants.
Yeah, right. And guess what? You told him exactly what the measurements were. You told him exactly what your size was, and you told the tailor, you're like, yeah, you're a pretty svelte guy. You're like a 31, 33.
I just want to know why you're changing pants with somebody enough to develop this opinion.
I'm just saying it's happened.
You say, like, I hate it when this
life.
happens to me, like it happens to me once a week. Like you and Bartle just switched pants.
Or like you and... Hey, Bartle, I'm going to be on TV here.
Steve, Bartle me this. Bartle me this, Steve. You think we can just swap pants? These things just aren't working for me today. The swimsuit one, I think people can identify with.
Yeah, usually it's swimming oriented, right? Everyone jumps in the pool. Everyone jumps in the pool in their clothes. I'm like, well, now I need something dry to change into.
Oh man, this segment turned weird. Final thoughts on Summer League, Ben? Christian and I got a chance to mull it over. We haven't had a chance really to hear from you. Flip is the MVP.
I think the Jazz have. Other than I just wish you had seen Ace Bailey more. I do think it is a bit of a setback to just go in and be a little bit blind on what does and doesn't work. Now, look, Cody Williams, if you remember last year, actually had a pretty good summer league and went into the NBA and was, naked as a jaybird. He just didn't belong at all. So he's got to figure out how to find his role. And what Ace Bailey did in summer league by being superior athletically and height wise to some of these players isn't going to translate day one in the NBA. I don't think. Though he is a pretty spectacular physical specimen. So he's going to have to get back, and preseason's going to be big for him, and I think there's going to be some high moments and some really low lows for him. And I wish you'd work some of those out in Summer League.
The thing that mattered most, I thought, was Cody Williams proving that he's got an attitude that he belongs. It's, we've talked about it a bunch, Ben, but it's natural to think like, you get into a new situation, maybe a new job or whatever it is. I'm very much this way. And you don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Right.
You don't want to make waves. You're still trying to figure out how it's done, what you do, all those things. It's why rookies oftentimes defer to veterans. I mean, that's how it works. They're trying to figure it out. And Cody played, I thought, like that last year. Like that. He did not play like that in Summer League. Not at all. He had a command to it. You know what I mean? And again, you can't read too much into Summer League, but the fact that he played with a little tude, I thought was a real positive.
I'm trying to figure out how to describe this accurately because it's strange and this doesn't necessarily apply, but I wonder if people can figure out what I'm saying because I have a comp of another player who played this way. He plays at a weird volume. And I don't mean volume as in size. I mean actual, we talk about loud players who make loud baskets. Donovan Mitchell was a loud player, right? You felt him. You just kind of, when he was out there, he's hitting threes, he was dunking the ball, it was loud. His burst onto the scene was loud. The way he played was loud. Derek Favors was a quiet player. Derek Favors was very impactful, but wasn't necessarily loud, even though, he caught some lobs and he did some dunking and, he blocked shots, but it wasn't necessarily all that emphatic and loud. It was a kind of a bizarre volume and not a star level volume. And I think Cody plays at a similarly kind of strange volume. And those guys go a little bit unnoticed, but I don't think it means necessarily that they're not valuable. They may not be stars, but it doesn't mean they're not valuable. And so I'm just trying to figure out if Cody can find the right quote-unquote volume to play with to be impactful. Because I think naturally he's going to be one of the quietest players on the floor. Lowry's louder, which is a little ironic because Lowry's not a particularly loud player. But, I think Ace is going to be extremely loud. Keontae's really loud and, in a sense, noisy, because there's some really good and there's some really bad there. Bryce is pretty loud because most of his shots are threes. Cody just plays weird. He just kind of takes a back seat. Did it in college. Kind of did it in high school, too. Did it too much last year. So he's got to figure out where to where to place his volume level.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to define volume level, I suppose. I don't know. Who would you say is the best non-loud player?
Yeah, I mean, it's like John Stockton. You know what I mean? And even then, John was probably much louder than I give him credit for.
No. I think that's a good example.
Hornacek
Sure.
was probably not very loud. But maybe Horny was even louder than we think because he had some highlight reel shots.
But okay. I guess my point is, do you need to be a loud player necessarily to be a key player on a contending team?
Yeah, and I think it's I'm honestly like...
Is his brother a loud player?
His brother's much louder, yeah.
But his brother's much bigger.
Yeah, he is. And that's part of it. Part of Cody's quietness, lack of volume, is just like he doesn't dictate a whole lot.
But another thing is he also doesn't dribble. And so I don't want to confuse loudness with the type of game, because if dribbling the whole game is what it takes to be a loud player, I don't think any coach out there wants that to be Cody Williams' game.
But like Klay Thompson is louder. Steph is louder and doesn't necessarily have to dribble a whole lot. Steph certainly dribbles, but Klay never dribbles, is louder. Lowry
Klay,
never dribbles,
you know what?
is
Klay
louder.
is like the quietest Hall of Famer ever.
But yeah, he is one of the better quiet Hall of Famers. Now, he is, arguably the second greatest shooter of all time, third greatest shooter of all time. Ray Allen got quieter later in his career.
But
really
catch
good.
and shoot, I don't know. Yeah, he's a quieter superstar, Klay Thompson, because he doesn't dribble. Donovan dribbled a lot. He was loud because he was the game. He was the team.
And by the way, loud doesn't necessarily mean you're good. There are loud players who aren't good players.
I'm trying to figure out the criteria.
No, so am I. I'm really trying to figure out what Cody Williams is. This is, this thing that I'm walking through is not a final solution of trying to understand who he is. How could we? He's played, 50 games in his career, and they were 50 particularly bad games. And then he looked really good at Summer League. And even then, it wasn't like Kyle Filipowski was far louder at Summer League than I thought even Cody Williams was. And Kyle only played 3 games. And credit to Cody, he played all of them.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, played all of them, which I think is awesome. And good for Cody for doing it,
Yeah, but I don't think it's fair to... See, this is the problem with loudness. I don't think it's fair to compare Flip and Cody. Their ideas of a good Summer League are completely different.
For sure.
They have completely different issues. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Flip was good, but we still didn't see Flip solve the problem that's going to be his biggest problem.
It's going to dictate who he is as a player.
Yeah.
Can you play defense?
Right. I think we figured out that he was super skilled last year.
Yeah. And I think...
And I undersold it, by the way, through going into the year and through the beginning part of the year. I mean, he proved it. That he's a super skilled guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's got good touch. He's got good handle and passing and all those things, and it makes him somewhat unique. But how's he going to play on the defensive end? And will dictate how many minutes he can play on a team.
It was interesting if you were to go back, and I could probably pull up his stats. I think I tweeted this out at one point, but guys at Summer League this year who averaged 18 points, and I'm cherry picking numbers a little bit, but 18 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Just like 4 guys, and Cody was one of them. He is a bit of a stat sheet stuffer. Not in the sense he's going to grab 9 rebounds and 8 assists. He's not Russell Westbrook, but he's just going to kind of do a lot all over the place. He's going to grab some rebounds. He's going to grab some assists. He's going to get some steals. He's going to block more shots than you would think he'd be able to do. That's really positive. Those guys are valuable, and the Jazz don't have a lot of those guys. Jazz don't have anyone who gets steals on their team. And steals aren't necessarily an indicator that you're a good defensive player, but it does indicate that you're locked in, that you're focused, that you're trying to make an impact. And Cody does that. So I do think there's a lot of value for him there. And where still long-term he could be a more valuable player than Flip because he plays both sides of the floor, and that's really valuable. It's hard to have guys on the floor at the end of games who don't play defense. And, I'm a Flip believer, but I also believe if he's on the floor late games, they're going to target him every single time. And I don't know if you're going to be able to do that to Cody once he develops. So.
All right, Ben, coming up next, I think we need to name Bozo of the Week. We have a really great candidate.
Okay.
But Christian has discovered maybe a competitor at the end here. So we need to weigh in on Bozo of the Week. I don't know. Well, maybe sports-wise it tops last week's winner. But that CEO and the HR lady, did you see that she quit yesterday?
She finally resigned. Dang. She's getting nice things.
She was spotted on the town without a wedding ring on. Because she was married to like the big family in Boston. She was married into like a...
Rum money.
Yeah, well, that was what he was doing. But the family's like
Oh, a bigger family.
Yeah.
He was gallivanting as a rum runner,
Right.
but with other people's money, with family money.
Yeah.
That's the life. That's the best way to do it.
This HR lady has a type.
CEOs.
She has a type.
Wealth. Yeah.
Money.
She works well with CEOs.
That's my type, too.
She said that.
It's weird.
All right, stay tuned. We'll get to that coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thank you for making us a part of your Friday. Does not feel like a Friday. I don't know what it feels like. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their Pioneer Day yesterday.
Yeah.
Had a good time. It was nice to have a day off. Even though Christian and I marched in a parade like other celebrities like Dan Rascone, I just like to be associated with Dan.
Sure. Got to rub elbows.
A popular guy. Ben, you missed 2 nominees for Bozo of the Week this week, and we have someone coming in at the end to see if they can steal. But I think in the clubhouse, what do you think, Christian, is the former NFL PA, what's his last name, Howell?
Oh, yeah. Lloyd
PA
Howell?
leader.
Lloyd Howell, is that his name?
Lloyd Howell. Now, Ben, have you been following this story from your vacation at all?
Yes, I've seen the headlines.
So Lloyd Howell, they looked into it, and he was expensing like
Gentlemen's clubs visits.
at the tune of like thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
You know, and he ended up resigning over it. The assistant or the associate, whatever head, ended up resigning over it too. And then the cherry on top was the parking space controversy. I don't know if you saw this.
He missed the parking space.
So apparently he drove a really nice Porsche and did not want that thing getting dinged up parking in the offices there in Washington, D.C. So he commandeered the space next to his space and made it into one space with some paint. So he got a double parking space
Double light.
for his really nice Porsche. But on top of that, the spaces were numbered.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, etc. And so he renumbered his giant space number 32. Do you know why he chose 32?
Not because it was number 2 and number 3 on the list, or number 3 and number 2 in the parking spaces?
O.J. Simpson.
Oh. An ode to.
An ode to O.J. Simpson.
Orenthal James?
Orenthal James Simpson.
That O.J.?
It was widely known that was his nod to O.J. The source, when further pressed as to why, he said, I don't really know, but it was in honor
The murderer, O.J.?
of O.J. Simpson.
Okay. Well, that's a choice, Lloyd. Lloyd Howell,
So-
not Lloyd Cole.
Lloyd Howell cost himself a very lucrative job.
Yeah.
He had some very bizarre behavior, and made the most obvious HR mistake. Well, is it even HR? What are expenses fall under that? Accounting?
Yeah.
Like, Ben, you've traveled on the company's dime. You don't hit scores and then send that receipt in.
No, you get 2 receipts.
Well, I mean, if you're really devious. But when we mentioned this, that the NFLPA is monitored by the National Labor Relations Board and all these, they comb through all this stuff.
Of course. Right.
You've
Especially
gotta
when
be
it's several thousands.
A particular type of bozo to get busted doing this sort of thing. Then nominee number 2, and I think she is number 2, Ben, although I will listen to your opinion. Spark star Kelsey Plum. After the T-shirt stunt at the WNBA All-Star Game, then threw Caitlin Clark under the bus.
Okay.
And said nobody from her team was there when we were planning this sort of thing. Now, I went through a whole segment worth of thing why this is bozo behavior. First of all, the messaging on those T-shirts were terrible. They should have picked something else. I understand what you're doing, but the "you owe us" messaging is just awful.
It's not going to gain you the momentum you would hope.
They wore T-shirts at halftime that said "you owe us" because they're in the middle of a labor negotiation
pay us what we're worth.
with the owners, which is fine. That's what I said. Use the word fair. Be fair. I mean, the messaging was so terrible. It wouldn't surprise me if Caitlin Clark was like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
But Wyatt's particular bozo behavior is the only reason that they have any leverage in this current collective bargaining is because of Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
And her participation in the negotiation will matter a lot.
This is not specific to it being a women's sport. It's specific to this sport having a true superstar who moves the needle finally that they've been really desperate for at a level they've never had before and not doing everything by her word.
They are getting something like 9% of basketball-related income. If they want any chance at all to get a more reasonable slice of the pie,
Caitlin has to be on board.
Caitlin has to be on board.
Yeah.
And if she pulls a LeBron and just says, then that will make a difference.
Yeah.
So if you're going to call out the only player, and no offense to them, but the only player that matters in this conversation, then that's bozo behavior.
Yep.
You're not even acting in your own self-interest.
Right.
I don't even know what interest you're acting in.
No, that's been the whole weird thing about how Caitlin Clark has been treated. And I get it. There's the jealousy of the young star who comes in, who's stealing all the attention that some of the other veteran players think they deserve and have paved the way for. And in a sense, they're right. But also, when you step back from it and you stop looking at it romantically, stars matter. Dan Rascone matters when you're in the parade. Sorry. As much as we like to see Christian and Alex and Jake Scott, I want to know what Eubank's doing.
The star of the show.
I want to know where the stars are.
I know.
They moved the needle.
That's why we stood in the back and waved like morons while
Correct.
Dan did his thing.
Yes. You didn't wear a shirt that said you owe us.
I didn't trip Dan. I didn't trip Dan and say, oh, Dan's out.
Flagrant foul.
I'm in.
Flagrant foul on Dan.
I love that comparison. That was magic.
But yeah.
But you owe us is this very victim-y statement that people could easily pile on and did, because then they go down the line of, well, you've never made money and all this stuff.
Right.
But if you talk about fairness, that's what actual labor negotiations are supposed to be about on both sides is fairness.
Right.
And I personally don't have any problem with them trying to get messages out there that we're fighting for extra points on the pie. That's your job.
Correct.
But to go, you owe us is a ridiculous message. And whoever came up with it should be removed from brainstorming sessions from here on in. But then for Kelsey to go, it was a magical moment, having nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Man.
Yeah.
Get over that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's...
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
That's nominee number 2.
Yeah.
Do you have any...
And by the way, Caitlin Clark is the hand that feeds you.
She, at the moment...
Yeah.
Because everybody points to the new TV deal coming, which is $200 million a year or something like that, and the escalation in ratings in the gate and all that, which is all true. But it is all to come see the traveling Caitlin Rock show at the moment.
Yeah.
And then you hope you grow the sport from there. But at the moment, that is your meal ticket.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get those points on the BRI to go from 9 to 20 at some point, she's going to have to be involved.
Agreed.
All right, so that's Bozo nominee number 2, Kelsey Plum. Do you have a leader in the clubhouse right now?
Between those two?
Between
Still
those
going
two?
with Lloyd.
I know. I think
Still going with Lloyd Howell.
I think Lloyd is.
Especially the OJ nod parking spaces.
It just adds right to it.
Yeah.
Like they hired a bozo.
It's a bridge too far.
At the NFLPA.
Yeah.
They did. They got caught in the bozo trap.
But we have a third.
Now, this comes from, we've got screenshots of text spin from former Memphis defensive back Taj Rael.
He's now with Purdue, by the way.
He is sending texts to...
Christian, can you give us the backstory? You sent this to us.
It was first reported by On3 Sports. Okay. It looks like an Instagram DM exchange. Basically, Taj Rael is sending UTSA quarterback Owen McCown the defensive coverages that Memphis ran.
The whole playbook.
The whole entire
and
defensive playbook.
And the signals and the like...
This was the week they played them?
The week they played them, and he specifically says... Safety is the weakest link in the defense, his hamstring hurting, but he's running out of eligibility. So when you play him, he's number 0.
Well, and then Owen McCown responded, but let me know if they cut your stuff, I'll put it in a word. So if Memphis moves on, put it in a word there at Texas San Antonio. And he ended up at Purdue.
And guess who won this game?
Texas San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't recruit that guy.
Yeah. And Purdue's got to get rid of him immediately, right?
No, this is a huge scandal. He'll be suspended, I'm thinking. I mean, if they confirm that this isn't fake news. I mean, what did they do?
Play college football anymore.
What did they do? They ruined that color guy for Wake Forest who was selling out the team's stuff to other teams. Do you remember that scandal? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that guy works in sports anymore. if this is true, I would. But then again, I don't know who punishes these guys anymore. Does the NCAA step in? I guess.
It might just be one of those things where the crowd, the wisdom of the crowd says you're persona non grata. We don't want anything to do with you.
So Taj Rahel, formerly of the Memphis Tigers, currently of the Purdue Boilermakers.
For the next few minutes.
Selling out the signals and the playbook to the other team's quarterback. So those are our three contenders, Ben, for Bozo of the Week. Again, I don't think that any of them have had the cultural impact that last week's did.
No.
With the CEO for Astrometer.
Astronomer.
But what do you think? I think my vote, I got to tell you, is for Howell, the NFLPA head.
I would still go with Powell. Howell. Not
Lloyd.
Agreed.
Lloyd Howell. Any coincidence that his name's Lloyd?
Well, and again, this goes back so much.
No, there's not. There's not.
This goes back so much further than this, which is.
But Lloyd knows better than to expense that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Lloyd runs in those circles, but that the expenses don't go back to the company.
The reason this guy is now under fire came from the Pablo Torre podcast, where essentially they uncovered that Roger Goodell was colluding with owners, which is not his job, actually.
Which we did talk about this when we talked about
to
the story.
Underpay or to not give guaranteed money to veterans.
It was over Rusty Wilson and
a reflection of after what had happened with Deshaun Watson.
Right.
He basically told the owners, don't give these guys as much money as they're worth or as much money as you are. It's going to be bad for you.
And this just shows you how dumb the Chargers owner is. There's a text from the Chargers owner to the Cardinals owner about, why am I going blank? Kyler Murray's contract, which ended up not being guaranteed. And Spanos, the Chargers owner, is like, congratulations, way to go. Way to do it for it. Way to go. Way to break those guys.
But,
and those two contracts, and there was a meeting, and
Lloyd Howell, if you know this, you've got to run this up right. You represent the players,
right? Your
job is to get them as much money as possible,
and they pretty much lost on this whole thing.
Yes.
So you got to wonder is after this loss, they just leaked it. Somebody leaked it to get the leadership out of there because it's so bad.
Yeah. I would imagine
because guaranteed money is the battleground. Like as far as NFL
in the NFL,
as far as NFL and NFLPA relations and what they agree on and what they do not, the front line is guaranteed money. That's it.
Right.
I mean, especially in such a volatile sport, which does not have the protections of baseball and basketball to begin with.
In the NBA, it's points, as you talked about. It's not points on the floor.
Points of the package.
Yeah.
Of the entire
basketball-related income. Yeah.
And the players now are at like 48.
Yeah.
Almost 49, maybe, and it was down from like 51, 52.
Yeah.
Thanks to Derek Fisher. But in NFL, the guaranteed money is the white whale. And that was, I remember, I'm sure you do too, Ben. It wasn't that long ago. That Deshaun Watson contract, it being fully guaranteed, was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And they're freaking out in the owner circles and going, oh man, we can't let this happen. And then they legit collude to do it, get caught doing it, more or less, and still lose out. Something tells me old Lloyd Howell isn't doing a very good job.
Certainly not representing his players.
But the NFL Players Union has been terribly led forever. It's a terrible union.
Yeah, and it's a bad union because of the design of the union or the design of the system. Not because the union itself ideally is bad. It's because there's 1,500 players on non-guaranteed contracts trying to get theirs as quickly as they can.
But you remember the NFL players guy, Billy Hunter. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that guy could tie his shoes.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players out there in the wake of this story are calling for much more transparency. Apparently, there was no transparency when the NFL hired the PA hired this guy, that they just hired him, and he has all this other harassment related stuff at a previous employer, and they said they asked him about it and were satisfied with his answer and hired him anyway.
Yeah, he's fine.
It's terrible.
Yep.
And then don't even tell players are like, wait, who's this guy? And they're like, shut up.
Well, I mean, they've never been able to meaningfully do anything with their union.
So this is a great example of Bozo of the Week.
Yeah.
I think he earned this one.
Great.
Competition was a little stiffer this week, though.
This is a good one. Texting somebody or DMing somebody playbook and ruining your own career over it's a real move.
Well, and I thought your point about the WNBA, don't tick off Dan Rascone.
Right. Keep Dan happy.
Keep Dan happy. The guy out there high-fiving every darn person who came to see that parade, taking selfies, running like a madman for 2.5 miles in the heat.
Keep Dan happy.
Keep Dan happy.
KDH. We always say that before the show.
Stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next. We'll close up the show. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Talking sports, they got him made Jason on soul. Loves his tie dye, Ben's got style with his scarves. Oh my. From the islands to the basketball courts.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Peach Doors and Windows. Amazing home transformations begin with Peach, where 5-star reviews are the norm. Call them today for your free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255. Peach Doors and Windows. Ben, I got a snap talk over the weekend from Adios Bullwinkle. I'm just going to read his ad handle. Said, what is the reggae song at the end of your show? Well, that's a Jake Scott original.
That's Jake and the Voice, Jake and the Fellas. Can't remember what your band was.
I can't either, frankly.
I remembered it yesterday. It was No Limits.
No Limits.
No Limits.
It's a good name.
We
Such a good name, we forgot it.
we threw together that reggae tune, and it's been a staple.
Again, what I love about you guys is how versatile you are. You're not.
Yes.
You can't be pigeonholed into one genre.
We are not.
No, you do reggae. You did Dreamcoats.
The Dreamcoats,
was really
yeah.
a ballad.
That was kind of a ballad. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys really are.
Wasn't our song about rock, Olsen? That was kind of like
Rock was
like,
better, almost rap rocky, but that was, good.
Yeah, kind of like
Not
kind of
rap rock,
poppy.
but yeah.
A little poppy. I do know how to say Hans's name. I just thought Hans kind of ranged a little. Wait, which is this one?
This is one of your better hits.
Sunrise hits Hans's faith. Morning grace for disaster. Broke dawn with heartache. Couldn't say my cane, non master. Grief stricken, breath quicken.
It's about Hans' dead dog. Died in his arms.
You can at least get to the chorus.
I gotta cut it quick, especially if I don't know if they're here today or not.
Oh, they're here. I saw Hans run around. To the
Oh,
window.
well, then he's not listening.
Yeah, he's not listening. They're in Lloyd's office, getting talked down to.
Oh, man, I've had a rough morning.
So, yeah, that's No Limits. That's Jake's band.
Yeah.
They record in Jake's garage.
Right next to all the sleds and stuff.
Jake's been stealing recording equipment throughout his career.
Yeah, 20 years, you can get a lot of stuff.
You can get a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And they throw stuff out. They upgrade.
Right. So it's not all breaking the law.
Small line item somewhere along the line. Nobody cares. So that's No Limit. And Jake's not the lead singer, but he's the lead writer.
I do write most of the
music.
music.
You write most of the music.
Yeah.
So, but anyways,
I like,
that's where this song is. Our final song is the reggae.
Which Ben doesn't like reggae, which I did not know when I wrote it at the time.
But
I might have picked a different format. Maybe I should write a different theme song.
But I do love the way it signals that the show is coming to an end. Not because I like the show ending. It's just an
Would you rather have like a Avril Lavigne skater boy pop punk kind of thing? That seems more up your alley.
Let me hear our intro. Let me hear our 6-segment intro.
Two amigos on the airwaves, talking sports.
Again, nobody knows what that first line is. You
Two
wrote it.
amigos on the airwaves.
I don't know if it's what he says. I think he says joining us on the airwaves, but you said it's two amigos, and you wrote it, so you would know. Anyways.
I will say all week when you're out, it just doesn't hit the same.
No, it doesn't. No, you got to have the whole band together. It's like, Iron Maiden can't tour now.
Used to play ball. Coming up next, Dance and Scotty G. We will talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.